Hi, my name is Brenda Salzano, and I'm going to do a crafting demonstration today. Instead of my usual sewing things, this time it's using some of my designs that I have on fabric, but I'm going to be applying it on wood. So here is what I'm working on. I'm going to have to move this so that you can see. Today I'm working with pieces of wood that's already cut on limbs and things, and then it's already got a little tag that you can get at the hobby stores, and they come in different sizes. As you can see on this one, it's a bigger one, and this is the fabric that I've cut from one of my own fabrics. This is my design. All of them are my designs, and I had some samples so that I was wondering what to do with some of the samples, and this is working out really well. Here's a finished one with a little swirl that I did, and then I signed the back, and the fabric is on there already dried. Here's one with just a design that I'm going to, this one was a little more rough because it had more bark on it, so I'm going to take some black and put around the edges of that one. And this one here, I had some mistake where I got some ink, if you can see that ink there on the pink part, so I'm going to fix that though by painting on some of that now that it's dry. I've just finished this one here to glue it on, and for glue, I might show that a little better. The glue that I'm using is Mod Podge. I use this for many craft things. You can get that at any hobby store, and I like to use it straight out of the bottle and not too watered down. And I'll do this one here, I'll do this up so that you can see how I do it. I use, I like this flat edge brush, but you can use any brush, whatever works for you. This is my brush. And I'm going to start by just painting the back of the fabric. I start out at the sides, all around the circle. I'm going to go around the circle. I'm putting it on the one that's going to be glued on, because it doesn't matter if you get some glue on there on either side at this point. But I like to do extra glue to make sure that there's no little corners coming up and that it adheres good to the wood. I like Mod Podge because it does come out clear, and it works with so many different mediums. The brush strokes should be nice and smooth, making sure that you're not missing any spots. You don't want this to have little bubbles coming up or something, and normally it won't if you put it on pretty smoothly and covering everything really good. If you hear a dog bark, my dog Carrie is always helping out. She's a little corgi. She's almost 12. She'll be 12 this year. Next year, I mean. Next July. This one is a winter scene with a vintage pink truck, and it's in the forest like they're winter camping. And then it has this little deer that's walked up through the snow and is staring at the camper. It's been a very popular design that I sell on fabric and on wallpaper, which brings up a good fact too. You could buy a little bit of the wallpaper with any of these designs that I make, and you could just, they have it in the already peel and stick wallpapers, and you could put that on these pieces of wood also. Now I've got my back all covered with glue. Now I'm just going to go around really quickly. Set that over here for a minute, and I'm going to get these edges on the wood. I like to bring the brush out on the edge, and it leaves just a little ridge there. That way, if there's a little bit of material, I can fold that over, and it'll adhere really nice along the edges First, I just want to cover this really good, just like I did the back of the material. And again, don't leave any big globs. You want to keep coming back and smoothing that out. And you're painting or just using a brush for crafts, learning how to use your strokes is really important. Loading your brush, like if you're doing painting, how much paint you put on and the stroke of the brush is going to be important for paintings and for glue when you're gluing something like this and you want a smooth look, not missing any spots. And again, I'm spreading that all out so we've got a nice smooth look. Okay, that's all ready. You do have to work fairly quickly, but it gives you time. This is still sticky on the back. And I've already made a little, when I cut this out, I use the wood as a template because each one is a little different. So I use that as a template for the exact piece of fabric that's going to go on it. And then I make a little notch at the top so I know that that goes right where that little hanger is. That's where I want the top of this. And you want to slowly put that on. Don't push it down yet till you know you've got it right where you want it. You can lift it back up and move it around. And then you're going to want to start in the center, start spreading that out. When I made my mark on the fabric, I cut inside of where I mark it so that this, when it's wet, will stretch out just a little bit, and you don't want that ink mark anyway, or a pencil, whatever you've used. Now for the final thing. Now you can wait for this to dry and then do your next step, or you can get most of this excess water out of here. You can wait for this to dry and then put another layer. I'm going to go ahead and put the next layer on now. One reason being is that this will help me smooth out all of the little crinkles. I don't get a whole lot though with this. I'm using cotton. This is Spoonflower's cotton. They have two types, and the cheapest one is too thin of a material for this kind of thing, but the regular cotton that they have is just right, and that's what I'm using on this. I think it's petal cotton is what they call it on Spoonflower. And I go clear over that edge so that my brush is kind of already any little bits that might be on that need to turn under a little bit. So I don't want a frayed edge on there. Just work quickly, but don't get in a rush, but work quickly and firmly. Again, making all your strokes. It's kind of like coloring. You want to make sure all of that's around there good. You cut over it completely. And then I take my finger and I just kind of press down any of the little, and you have to do it a number of times. You'll come back, like I say, in 2 or 3 minutes and kind of press down just to make sure that that's nice and smooth edge. And this is going to be a good fit. The only part that's poking up a little bit is right there where my little edge was. If I need to, I can put some more underneath there. It looks like it'll lay down. You just have to come back and do it a few times. Let me double check this one here because I just did this before I started the video. I want to make sure that's out. This one here has a white background that it's been sitting in my drawer for a while, so I'm probably going to paint over this background once this is more dry. While these need to sit just a little bit, I put a lid on this for temporary. I want to show you how I fixed this error on this one here that has the ink on it. What had happened was I had it moved, and then I noticed that I was cutting off his ears instead. I'd rather have less tail and still get the little squirrel in there. So I've mixed up some paint already. As you can see, I've got my little palette here. I used, to get this color, I'm using a light pink. I added some of this antique gold and natural buff. So I mixed those three colors to get a color that is going to be able to work well with this, I believe. It may take 2 coats. I'm just going to repaint the background, and I'll come back in and covering up his little whiskers there, but I'll come back in and use black and cover that. I'm putting a little extra colors, like, so it's variegated. Put a little variegation in there. That also helps to cover up those lines. And I'm going to go a little lighter over here. I can see a little bit on the ear that I'll touch up later with the black also. There's a little seed thing here. Part of it I'm going to go ahead and take out, and the other part I will leave on there. Going more on the gold color on this, kind of like a shadow area. I got a little bit of paint on the side. I'm going to use extra water and I'll be able to wipe that right off. I like the natural bark on the outside. So that just needs to dry. So we got 3 drying. However, I've got this one here that I said I needed to a little bit on the edge. I'm going to just use black on there. Really need a little tiny brush, but I'll probably be able to make do with this. Load that bristles in there. Okay, hope you can see what I'm doing here. We're going to just touch this up by just running that flat bristle right across there. You see? Gonna do that down here. If it's too much water, it won't. It'll be too translucent. So you do want a little bit of Can you see that? I don't know if you can really see that. My lighting might be poor. There, that's a little better. Once this dries, I don't think I'll need another coat of Mod Podge, but I'll look and see if the gloss is the same. If not, I can always put another coat on there. These really look nice when you hang them on the wall. And I'll sign, like I said, the back. This is still drying, so it looks a little muted. But it has a, I'd say, it's not a real glossy look, but it is glossy. And then this one here, this one has my little corgi dog down in there. It's a little tiny, you probably can't see that, but there's a little corgi in front of the little travel trailer. That's a travel trailer that I used to have that I decided to use in a design. I think I'm going to go ahead and paint that white background now. Back to my big brush. And I'm going to use just white out of the tube. I'm using like the tip, the very tip of the brush to kind of get in next to that green color. And I'm going horizontal movements back and forth. This is a great craft thing to do with your kids. This is something they could do. If you've got even just some basic little paints, or you're just using the fabric by itself and the Mod Podge, put it on different little pieces of wood to make gifts this year. I can use the little corner of my brush on these flat edges to get down into some detail. I had a little piece of fuzz sticking there to the end. I'm tapping around these leaves. Be painting for a long time, you'll start learning different little tricks that make everything a lot easier. I think one of the biggest mistakes people make is we tend to be too uniform when we're first starting out. There's the less uniformity you use while you're brushing and painting and designing, the more natural it will look. It'll give it more of a real look. Of course, a lot of these designs I do digitally with a program called Procreate. When I first started, though, I used the Sketch Club app, which I absolutely love. I still use the Sketch Club app. That's a great beginning app for drawing and making designs. The owner who built the app has some great tools, and it has a great community where they have little challenges, design challenges, and I highly recommend Sketch Club for starters. But as you get better, you may want have more powerful tools, and you could go to Procreate. I really like Procreate. I use both those still to this day because Sketch Club has a tool that helps you repeat patterns smoothly. Offset, I think it is the tool that I use. Yeah, we're almost done. Right here is a little fence in the background. Might not be able to see that on camera. Just gonna do a little few marks in here. Have to use the other side of this. You really should keep I just have to go get mine, but a real fine, like 3 hair brush for tiny details. I'm leaving this like maybe clouds or something up here. So I want it a little different than the ground where I wanted it smooth and back away here. I kind of like a little extra texture there. Oh, I should put a little bit over here. I'm gonna have to have a smaller brush, definitely. See right here underneath the fence thing. Under the little tent. Just a little bit. Just so it all blends together. In there. Highlight. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. There. So that's basically how I do it. I hope that you could use this as an idea for your next crafting project. And I want to thank you very much for watching my videos. I appreciate the kind words and that it helps some of you, and love that you show me what you do. Maybe someday give me a little email or comment that you can post on. Find me on Instagram, and I can see some of the stuff that you do. Have a great day. Make it a happy one. Take care. Bye.